Hey Aaron, welcome back. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today we're going to do a review and talk about my new favorite Tier 6 cruiser, the Dido. She was part of an actual class during World War II. In fact, I believe the Aurora, which is now transferred to China, was the Rahmat. And as jingle says, we're off to a great start, so let's get into it and let's talk about it. As I mentioned, the class is a real class of ship, but between the Dido and the Rahmat, and they are the exact same, almost the exact same design in the game, there's one glorifying, or two differences really, but one in particular that proves to my last video, especially about the Chungking at Tier 5 with the Pan-Asians. So first off, let's go into armor layout. Come on, you can click. There we go. So, like I said, she is exactly like the Rahmat in every way. You give any ship, cruiser and battleship, Tier 6 and up, a broadside, you're probably going back to port pretty much instantaneously. She's got almost nothing. Glassjaw. Survivability for me and my upgrades puts her at 26.3, and I'll get to some of those and the reason why, but the more life you can give to her, the better. Artillery. 5 times 2, 133 millimeter guns, 8.5 second reload, 15.7 second turret traversal. I'll get to that. I have a 9.5% fire chance as opposed to the Rahmat, which I believe is 11.5%. But the biggest difference I'll get to in a minute here. Torpedoes, again, not Pan-Asian torpedoes. They are 2 times 3, 533 millimeters. They're 8 kilometers and 61 knots. They're not 9.5 kilometers like the Rahmat, but again, they can hit everything. The one thing I did forget here is to tell you the difference. She can fire at 14.1 kilometers. The Rahmat, with all the upgrades, is 12.5. It makes a big difference when I talked about this in my Chungking video. And I do overall think that the Dido is a better boat than the Rahmat, but I still like the Rahmat. AA defense I'll get into in a bit. Maneuverability is key in this boat. She could do 33.9 knots. I take rudder shift, and I'll get to this reason why. I've noticed something about this boat and the ability with the rudder shift module to help you dodge shells and dodge torpedoes quite consistently. So I like that, and it's a big thing for me. I can, in fact, get her to stop in the length of a ship, and I have not seen that since my Royal Canadian Navy days with our 280 class destroyers with inverted props, which could stop on a dime from full speed to full reverse in a hull length. This could do the same thing. You turn hard left, turn right, and go full astern, and it'll just crack your bow right over, and you'll stop in a ship length, which to me is fantastic for dodging torpedoes and when you screw up, getting away from battleships when you've made those mistakes. Concealment's pretty good at 9.2. The Rahmat is 9.0. Her penalty and smoke is only 4.4. The Rahmat's 4.6. So that's quite the 4.6 or 4.5. So again, it's better than Rahmat, a bit better. I like it. One thing to take in accountability is 11.2 kilometers detectability when the ship is on fire. That is bad. If you're on fire, I would highly recommend you hit your repair because you're going to be spotted. If you're firing your guns, you're within the 14 kilometer, 11.2 kilometers. It's going to hurt. Now for equipment, this is a pretty standard build for me. I changed a couple things around. Main armament modification for me. Always do this on every cruiser, all the time. I decided to take damage control systems modification instead of engine. I'm trying to play something different here to reduce my fire chances because of that 11.2 kilometers. I want to make sure they get the fires out as quickly as possible, especially if I don't have a heel back. I know sometimes I do take engine room protection, but again, here I'm just showing you, I'm trying something different. My Rahmat does have engine room. For me, I do take main armament systems. I want every shell to hit as possible to help with fires. And here's where I told you about steering gear modification. I didn't take damage control systems. I've got the rudder shift down to 5.2 seconds. Going full astern, like I said, in a boat length, I can stop the boat. So if I'm getting jumped by battleships, whether it's co-op or sorry, I don't play co-op. If it's battles like scenarios and whatnot, and randoms. So here's my flag count. I do spec out for as much fire, but I didn't. I left one flag out, as you can see. It's the Victor Lima. And I took continuous AA for a reason. And I got to show you something a little special here when I give you the demo on AA. I was actually very impressed. I took this boat beyond its requirements. I do take Sierra Bravos, and I do take actually Papas to have more hydro, more smoke. Extra is extra. Now back to my captain. I love my jingles. I have 2 jingles captains. For me, I took Grease the Gears because I need to get my turrets around to shoot something. It's important to me. The main guns are all you really have, so you really, if you get jumped by something, you want your guns to turn as much as possible. Here's where I took Last Stand, like you would in a destroyer, to help my steering gear mods and my engine. It's been good so far. I haven't had any real problems. That's why I don't think I need the other modifications and equipment. I might change over this to the Rahmat and do the same kind of build. I took Focus Fire training for AA, and I'll show you why in a minute. I'm actually pretty pleasantly surprised with the AA of this boat and what it can do with defensive AA. And of course, you're always going to take priority targeting because I want to know who's aiming at me. Again, Demolition Expert, it gets me up to 9.5% fire chance. I took heavy HE here because, quite frankly, I'm not 149mm gun, so I don't lose the 15% detectability, so that's a plus. And then always you take Adrenaline Rush. I mean, who doesn't? I do take Survivability Expert to add that extra just less than 3,000 HP that gets me up there. There's no heal in this boat, so every hit point counts because you're going to take damage. And obviously, I take Concealment. That's a given for me. So like I said, let's talk about AA. The first one, you're not going to see any Tier 4 carriers because of matchmaking. So the only thing you're going to see is Tier 6 and Tier 8. So here's the Tier 6. I waited to put Priority Targeting on and Defensive AA. And as soon as the planes got close and every test, the boat just shredded every single squadron. And again, I turn to make sure they don't hit me. I don't want to lose any AA mounts. Now, I did find the Tier 6 harder than the Tier 8. And here's the Tier 8. Same thing. Putting it up properly when you put up your defensive AA in your priority sector. And again, as you got closer, it just ripped it apart. Like right here. Gone. Splash, splash. And I had this every time. I actually played a full training room with this and every squadron. But here's a surprise. I brought it in a Tier 10 carrier to see if it would be any better. And again, I was pleasantly surprised. This boat does have defensive AA. So if you're a CV player and you're watching this, don't come near this boat or the Rahmat. You're going to regret it. Because I can slice your squadrons apart. And just like that. So overall, what would I say about the boat? I love it. I really do love this boat. It's with the, you get it with the Mediterranean tokens now in the armory and playing for personal. I do like this over the Rahmat, but the Rahmat is a different playing style with deep water torpedoes and that limitation in range. I do think it is a big difference. My games in the Dido were more damage with this build, and I was easily outranging the Rahmat, and I did have to go up against a couple of Rahmats too, in fact, I think in random battles. And I actually felt sorry for him. I know the boat inside and out, and I stayed just outside of his 12.5, and I killed both boats. And they didn't even touch me once. So it can be a little depressing, I think, for everybody if you're in that boat, but I kind of hope Wargaming increases that in the Chunk King at Tier 5 as quickly as possible. But overall, I'm going to give this boat a solid pass. I love it. I love playing these boats. I don't mind if it's in scenarios like this or in random battles. And I think it can hold its own. Now let's see if we can take out the Fuso, or as we like to nickname the boats, the Fusa. And can we get it? Boom! Yes, I have Cunningham on here. So hey, I hope this review helps. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, leave a comment down below. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and I wish you all the best. Bye for now.